Well, Lucas, I'm glad you could join for this conversation. I'm excited to glean from your learning. I always feel like as I get to do these interviews, it feels like free consulting that I get to experience. But also it's great. It's blessing to our community. So we're going to be talking about B2B sales for SaaS startups and SaaS companies. And so yeah, Lucas, will you introduce yourself? Kind of tell us a little bit about your experience in this space.
Yeah, thank you, David. So yeah, my name is Lucas Muniz, and I currently have my own business. It's called Sales Network LLC, and the business is a consulting for SaaS companies who want to scale their sales. And doesn't matter, no matter what growth stage the startup is at. We basically find out exactly where you are, what the best next steps are going to be, and even if it relates to, let's say, if you need some help that's not specifically for sales, we partner up with whoever is needed the most. Let's say a marketing agency, if that's the case, or just guide you to the next step if we can help. But usually, there's always something sales related that needs to get done, before the company reaches that next stage. So yeah, I've been working in sales for the last 20 plus years. I used to work even, when I was a teenager with my dad, and worked in different industries, a myriad different industries. Worked in tech a long time ago. The times of, not sure if anyone is here familiar with Boyle and Cool Gear, but that's when I was introduced to tech sales, and then I worked in different industries and came back. So I chose software as a service, B2B, just because I noticed that a huge amount of, let's say, majority of cases, the processes can be replicated. And even with all the personalization, even all with the nuances of each case, at least, let's say, the rules that I talk with, they usually apply pretty well across, across all the different SaaS products. So yeah, I'm here matching challenges with tech solutions.
No, I love that, Lucas, and I appreciate that. Yeah, like you calling out even that. Yeah, while each of our businesses we have like nuances and unique things about them, but those same principles, just like in our framework, the same principles of growth apply at different stages. Same thing you're saying. It's like, hey, you may be offering a different product or a different promise, but the process, the principles of sales, and especially these B2B SaaS sales, they apply broadly. And so you're helping people see through all of the chaos and clutter and go, hey, these are the things that you need to double down on. This is how we're going to help you get there. And that clarity is so valuable. So I'm excited. Let's just kind of dive in to talk through some of these stages here. So the first stage is the existential stage. So this is like really, really early. This is kind of in that stage where they're answering, who is it I want to serve? What problem do I want to solve for them? Why do I want to be the one to solve it? How is what I'm going to offer uniquely better? And so they're not even really, they may have sold some in here, but often that selling is almost kind of accidental.
Got it.
But so that they're really trying to firm up, like, who am I going to help? What problem am I going to solve? And they may not even have a really clear offer, because honestly, that kind of comes in that discovery stage next. So this is really in just trying to figure out, like, what is my business going to be, which is why we call it that existential stage, because it is like, what is this thing I'm creating? So even in that kind of pre-sales space, if you're creating something, a SaaS product to solve a problem for somebody and to be better than whatever their other current options are, what are some of maybe the sales questions that founder should be thinking about in that really, really early stage?
That's a very exciting stage.
It
So all
is.
stages are exciting for me, but this one particularly, it's so everything's so new. So you try to figure things out. For some people, they might, not feel as great on this stage, but that's what I really think this one is really special, because you're trying to figure out how to help someone. So I would say that on this stage, you are definitely not selling. As you said, if you sold something, it was by accident. But basically, on the pre-sale stage, right there, everything it's surrounding curiosity. So basically, it's all about customer research, empathy, interviewing skills. Because okay, you came up with an idea and you don't have an MVP, a minimum viable product yet. You're trying to develop it, and you gotta ask yourself, okay, like what? Of course, what problem are we solving? But that's a question that's not only related to sales, but to early stages startup in general. But really trying to see if people actually care for that. I noticed that, especially now with AI, a lot of companies are coming out with ideas that are basically, let's see, like a would be cool. Oh, wouldn't it be cool if we could do this to the image and this and that and that? So at this stage, it's always better if you try to focus on a what the heck problem, like why there's not something like this yet. Because those, like when you actually are solving problems, things that people would really need instead of just, oh, that would be cool. That's when you can help more people, that you can actually, let's say, go through all those questions faster. If you found something that you're actually helping someone and you ask yourself why no one created this yet, that's a great indicator. That's a great green light right there. So of course, you got to figure out first if there's anyone else doing the same, because sometimes we think like, oh, okay, that's my original idea, and then when you really search and you go to it, there's another software doing that already for a pricing that's way cheaper than you imagine. So even though when talking about um, competitive analysis is way further down the line, but at least you got to know if there's someone doing the same. So, and of course, you got to try to figure out who you're going to help. So, what problem are you solving? I already mentioned, and then okay, does anyone actually need it? That's another question that I already mentioned. So, yeah, what's our ideal customer? Who are the people who actually care about that? Think from the perspective of imagine the corporate ladder, all sort of different departments. So okay, who would use that? Like let's try to find who. I'm talking from the user perspective now, not yet into later stages of the analysis in terms of the decision making process of a that's for another stage. But basically, okay, who actually would use this platform? And then you gotta focus on the customer discovery, basically like validate the problem. And the way to do it, it's definitely through research, using your empathy and your interviewing skills to reach out to the community. So let's say that you imagine that who is going to use this product the most is, I'm going to just say an example here, right? Let's say that it's a finance software somehow of some sort, and finance leaders need it, or actually you think they need it. So if you think they need it, okay, well, let's imagine what's the ideal customer profile. Are the financial leaders of any sort of company would be interested in this product, or just certain industries? So once that you find, okay, so maybe no, that like I think this the value we will provide will be more on this specific industry. All right, reach out to them. Go to LinkedIn communities, forums, if possible, anything that's presential as well. If there are any in-person meetings of that certain group of people, and just basically interacting with them, asking if that is an actual problem, asking if they have any annoyance by the lack of of the solving of that problem. Like, would their life be better? And basically interviewing them, like, hey, I have this idea here. I'm developing something that will have probably those capabilities and features. Would that be cool? What do you think of it? What's missing from what you currently have? So not sure if that was the long answer there, David.
No, that was great, Lucas. No, it's really helpful. I like how you kind of differentiated, like, not just having the hey, that would be cool solution, but the solving the what the heck problem, where it's really more a lot of times we talk about it as like, hey, sell like sell like pain medicine versus vitamins. The vitamins like, oh yeah, I should probably take those versus like I have a killer headache. I need something right now. There's a lot
Yeah,
more drive and determination to solve a problem than to take your vitamins, next week. So I
absolutely.
think, yeah, like that's listening, like both trying to identify that problem, and then, like you said, just reaching out to the community, seeing like, okay, who cares about this? And then particularly, yeah, like, is it specific segments within an industry? Like identifying that. But even I liked how you called out, since we're talking about B2B sales, um, it's like within that business, who in the business is the actual user? Because it's not necessarily the top or the bottom. It could be in the middle. It could be, just depends which problem you're solving.
Exactly.
And so recognizing that both the industry and maybe segments within that, but also the position within a company really helps you dial in. And then, like you said, it is a lot of just going and finding people and reaching out and having those conversations. Because yeah, if you get in front of someone who's maybe adjacent and they're like, "Oh yeah, that sounds good," that's not super validating versus getting that actual person going, "Yeah, that drove me crazy last week. I would love that solution." That's a really different level of feedback. So no, I think,
Exactly.
um, and I think there's probably, yeah, it's a good exhortation because there's a lot of folks who in that early stage are kind of afraid to share their idea, um, and or don't feel like it's formed well enough to reach out to their real clients. So it's safer to pitch to someone who's not your real client,
Yeah.
because you're like, well, I want to get it perfect first. And the reality is, no, you need that feedback early, or you're
Exactly.
going to get the wrong thing perfect. And so no, that's some really good call outs there in like that, like you said, that we said that pre-sales stage. Well, I just want to say thank you for, yeah, for spending this time and yeah, really blessing our community with your expertise. And I'm glad you're with us on the platform so people can come and find you if they want more, and really get to leverage your expertise. So I appreciate it.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to doing more of these type of things together in the future.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Also, we passed the time quite a bit.
Yep.
Appreciate the conversation, and thank you as well for being a great host and for making my messages a little concise, a little more concise. Thank you very much.
No, I love it. That's awesome.